Hi, I'm Peter Follansbee, and I'm back here in Maine at Lie-Nielsen Tool Works to do another joinery project. My specialty is making reproductions of 17th century New England furniture. They're principally done in oak. The project this time is building one of these wainscot chairs. I try to follow the period practice of using oak that I have split or riven from the log. This is about 1/8 of the log and maybe 2 feet long. And from this, I'll split apart sections for the rails of the chair, the aprons under the seat, the rails above the seat in the back of the chair, that sort of stuff. So my ultimate goal is a bunch of pieces that are essentially 1x4s, radially split from this, like that. And that one need a little bit of a twist, like that. I've set this block up on the bench, pinched between the dogs and secured in this vise. And after having hewn it with the hatchet and eyeballed that is now a flatter plane than it was, I'll check it with these winding sticks. So now to hew these rear faces, it's a little more cautious hewing, a little shorter strokes, because we really don't want to run the risk of breaking into the stuff we're going to keep. And I start out right above that saw cut and chop into there, and we'll see that break right like that. And you just keep opening it up bit by bit. It's best not to count how many mortises there are in a chair like this when you're starting out, because you don't want to be daunted by it. But with some practice, chopping these out goes very quickly. So that points the end of that. In case I've got any fibers down in the bottom of that mortise, that will help it wend its way in there. And I lean on that, it goes in. I'll check the back shoulder, and I'm not contacting the stile with the back shoulder, and that's a good thing. Now's the time to take some real guts and confidence. I'm going to take my carved panel and chop the back of it with the hatchet to begin to shape these bevels all around the panel. When people see me do this in my shop, they always are horrified that I'm going to swing an axe at something I've spent this time carving. And they're afraid I'm going to crack it apart with the hatchet. But what I always tell them is, if I cut the bevels first and then tried to carve it, it wouldn't sit flat on my bench. It would rock. The back wouldn't be supporting the board. So you keep it flat on the back, do your carving, and then just develop the confidence through experience of hewing it as is. So I'll show you some of that, and hopefully it'll work out okay. So just like before, I'll start down at the bottom. Okay, now it's time for something really a great departure from what we've done thus far. And it's time to do the turn decoration on these front stiles. Most wainscot chairs and other joined seating furniture of the period have this turned baluster in the midst of these square sectioned pieces. We'll show you an alternative to this if you don't want to tackle the turning, but you'll be missing out on a great deal of fun. You heard me talk about skewing the planes, and this has the same effect. You get a better shearing cut by skewing it like that. If you're learning to do turning, these machines are really handy that way. You can see what the tool is doing. I always tell folks it lets you make your mistakes much slower than a modern electric lathe. And that can be a benefit sometimes. You can see I've cut a tenon here and a mortise on that side. I want to show you how I laid that out on this side.